The crimson halls of the Velthak Empire's War Council echoed with frustrated growls that sent shivers through the crystalline walls. General Vexthor's massive frame towered over the obsidian council table, his 4 muscular arms trembling with barely contained fury. Each of his compound eyes burned like molten gold as he processed the devastating reports flooding in from across the galaxy. 3 fleets, he snarled, his voice carrying the weight of disbelief and rage. 3 entire invasion armadas, gone without a single distress signal, without one surviving ship to tell us what happened. The war room fell silent except for the soft hum of holographic displays showing empty star maps where once mighty fleets had simply vanished. Commander Ziltak, a seasoned warrior with scars covering his blue-scaled hide, stepped forward with trembling hands clutching data tablets. "The Kranox dynasty was first," Ziltak reported, his voice heavy with dread. 50,000 of their finest warriors aboard their most advanced dreadnoughts. They were supposed to be unstoppable, bio-enhanced soldiers who could regenerate from any wound, ships that could adapt to any weapon. General Vexthor's mandibles clicked ominously as he processed this information. The Kranox were legendary across the galaxy for their biological warfare capabilities. Their warriors could survive in the vacuum of space. Their weapons grew stronger with each battle, and their ships healed themselves from damage. Then came the Hydron Collective, Ziltak continued, pulling up holographic images of massive organic vessels that looked more like living creatures than spacecraft. Their bioships were works of art, living entities that could think, adapt, and evolve during combat. They sent their entire northern fleet toward that blue world. The images showed vessels that pulsed with their own heartbeats, ships covered in what looked like skin and muscles, with weapons that were essentially living organs designed for destruction. The Hydrons had perfected the art of biological warfare over millennia, creating weapons that were alive and intelligent. Even the machine legions of Sector 9, Ziltak's voice dropped to a whisper. Pure artificial intelligence, no biological weaknesses, no emotions to cloud their judgment. Self-repairing. Robots with quantum processors that could calculate 1,000,000 battle scenarios per second. Vexthor slammed his four-armed fist against the obsidian table with such force that cracks spider-webbed across its surface. "Earth," he spat the word like a curse, "a primitive rock orbiting an ordinary yellow star. Our deep space scanners show nothing but combustion engines and basic metallurgy. They barely have satellites in orbit, let alone planetary defense systems." The general's compound eyes focused on the tactical display showing Earth's solar system. It looked utterly unremarkable, a small blue planet with one natural satellite surrounded by debris and primitive space junk. Their technology appeared to be centuries behind even the most backward civilizations in the galaxy. How do savages with gunpowder weapons destroy civilizations that have mastered faster-than-light travel? Vexthor's voice rose to a roar that echoed through the chamber. How do primitives who still burn fossil fuels eliminate fleets that could conquer entire star systems? Meanwhile, light years away on the blue world that had become the galaxy's greatest mystery, Dr. Kim Tae-ho sat in a control room buried deep beneath Seoul's bustling streets. Banks of monitors surrounded him, displaying alien communications, stellar maps, and energy signatures from approaching vessels. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces with the calm precision of someone who had done this many times before. "Intercepted transmission from the Velthak Empire," announced Lieutenant Commander Lee So-young from her station. Her voice carried the efficiency of a seasoned military officer, but there was something else there, anticipation, perhaps even excitement. Colonel Park Ji-woo leaned over a tactical display that showed red dots approaching their solar system. His weathered face bore the expression of a man who had seen too many battles, but his eyes held a calculating gleam that suggested he was already 3 steps ahead of any enemy. "Signal analysis confirms Velthak battle doctrine," So-young continued. "Standard invasion pattern, overwhelming force, shock and awe tactics, complete planetary subjugation within 72 hours. Tae-ho's fingers paused over his console as he processed the incoming data streams. The alien communications were being decoded in real time, revealing fleet compositions, weapon capabilities, and tactical plans. It was almost too easy. The Velthaks were broadcasting their intentions across multiple frequencies, confident that no primitive civilization could intercept or understand their transmissions. "Fleet composition shows 97 vessels," Tejo announced, his voice carrying the same calm tone he might use to discuss the weather. 17 heavy cruisers, 34 destroyers, 46 fighter squadrons, and their command dreadnought. Jiwoo's smile was cold and calculating as he studied the approaching fleet. Bigger than the last 3 combined. They're not taking any chances this time. The tactical display updated in real time, showing energy signatures and weapon configurations that would have terrified any normal planetary defense force. These weren't just warships. They were instruments of complete annihilation designed to reduce entire worlds to radioactive ash within hours. Estimated arrival in 6 days, So Young reported. Same approach vector as the others, direct assault on population centers, targeting infrastructure and communication networks first. Tejo's fingers resumed their dance across the controls, activating systems that had been waiting patiently for months. Deep beneath major cities around the world, other command centers were coming online. Similar conversations were taking place in hidden bunkers under Tokyo, New York, London, and dozens of other locations. Good. Jiwoo's smile widened into something that would have chilled the blood of any alien who saw it. "We need more samples." The 3 humans continued their work with the casual efficiency of people following a well-rehearsed plan. Around them, screens showed the approaching alien fleet in perfect detail, every ship catalogued, every weapon system analyzed, every tactical weakness already identified and filed away for future reference. The Velthak armada materialized from the swirling vortex of hyperspace like a storm of metal and fury. 97 warships hung in the darkness above Earth, their hulls gleaming with alien alloys that could withstand the heat of dying stars. Each vessel bristled with weapons capable of cracking planets in half, their energy cores pulsing with the power of miniature suns. General Vexthor stood on the bridge of his command dreadnought, watching the blue world spin peacefully below. His compound eyes tracked the primitive satellites orbiting the planet, crude metal objects that looked like children's toys compared to Velthak technology. The scanning arrays showed no planetary shields, no defensive platforms, not even basic energy weapons. "Pathetic," Vexthor muttered, his forearms crossed behind his back. How did this backwater world destroy 3 invasion fleets? The bridge crew busied themselves with final preparations for planetary bombardment. Weapon systems charged with ominous hums, targeting computers locked onto major population centers, and troop transports prepared to deploy shock troops for the cleanup operation. Then something unexpected happened. A transmission crackled through their communication systems, not the desperate pleas for mercy they expected, but a calm, professional voice speaking in perfect galactic standard. "Velthak Fleet, this is Earth Communication Center. Welcome to our solar system. We've been monitoring your approach and have prepared appropriate landing zones for your forces. Please stand by for coordinate transmission." The bridge fell silent. Commander Ziltak's blue scales rippled with confusion as he stared at his communication console. "Sir, they're greeting us?" The voice continued with the same cheerful professionalism of a planetary traffic controller. "I am Ambassador Choi Minho, Earth's diplomatic representative for interstellar contact. We understand you've come a long way, and our reception committee has been preparing for your arrival. Please proceed to the coordinates we're transmitting now." General Vexthor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep confusion among his species. In 3,000 years of conquest, no world had ever welcomed an invasion fleet. Usually, primitive civilizations either cowered in terror, launched desperate attacks with their crude weapons, or tried to hide in underground bunkers. "They welcome us." Vexthor's voice carried genuine bewilderment. "No panic? No resistance? No desperate transmission begging for mercy?" Ziltak studied his sensor readings, double-checking everything. No energy spikes indicating weapons charging. No military units moving to defensive positions. In fact, sir, they appear to be celebrating. The main screen showed orbital views of Earth's surface. In dozens of locations around the planet, large open areas had been cleared and marked with what appeared to be landing beacons. Temporary structures dotted these zones, buildings that looked like welcome centers or processing facilities. Perhaps they surrender immediately, suggested Ziltak, though his voice carried uncertainty. Some primitive species realize they cannot resist and submit to avoid destruction. Ambassador Choi's voice returned, still maintaining that unnervingly cheerful tone. We've prepared landing zones on every continent to accommodate your forces comfortably. Each site has full facilities for your crew's needs. Our scientific teams are particularly eager to meet you. We have so many questions about your technology and culture. The data streams showed detailed landing coordinates, complete with atmospheric conditions, terrain analysis, and even what appeared to be weather forecasts. It was more thorough than most civilizations provided for their own commercial traffic. Vexthor studied the intelligence reports one more time. Earth showed no signs of advanced weaponry, no energy shields, no planetary defense grid. Their most powerful weapons appeared to be chemical explosives and primitive projectile launchers. Against Velthak armor and shields, such weapons would be less effective than throwing rocks. Deploy landing forces, he ordered finally. But maintain orbital readiness. This feels wrong. The first wave of Velthak transports descended through Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. As they approached the designated landing zones, the aliens could see the reception preparations more clearly. Humans had gathered in organized groups, holding colorful banners and signs covered with alien text that roughly translated to "Welcome visitors" and "Peace and understanding." The landing zone in South Korea was particularly elaborate. A temporary complex of buildings surrounded a large, flat area, perfect for spacecraft operations. Humans in official-looking uniforms stood ready with what appeared to be interpretation devices and information packets. As the first Velthak transport touched down with a thunderous roar, Dr. Han Yu-jin stepped forward with her team. She wore a simple business suit that looked professional but unthreatening, and her smile was warm and genuine. Behind her, a group of humans carried briefcases and electronic tablets, looking for all the world like a corporate welcoming committee. The transport's massive ramp lowered with hydraulic hisses, releasing clouds of alien atmosphere. Velthak, soldiers emerged in full battle armor, their weapons powered and ready. Each warrior stood 8 feet tall, their forearms ending in claws that could tear through steel, their compound eyes scanning for threats. Dr. Han approached without fear, her hands empty and visible. "Greetings," she called out in perfect Velthak, her voice carrying genuine enthusiasm. "I'm Dr. Han Yu-jin, Earth's xenobiological specialist. We're absolutely thrilled to finally meet representatives of your species." The lead Velthak warrior, Captain Mordek, stopped in confusion. His tactical training had prepared him for terrified civilians, desperate soldiers, or cowering politicians. He had not prepared for a small human woman who looked like she wanted to interview him for a research paper. "We've been studying your language and culture through intercepted transmissions," Dr. Han continued, her excitement seemingly genuine. "Your biomechanical integration is fascinating. We have so many questions about your physiology and technology." More transports landed around them, disgorging confused alien soldiers who found themselves surrounded not by terrified locals, but by smiling humans with cameras, notebooks, and scientific instruments. Captain Mordek's communication system crackled with reports from other landing zones. The same scene was playing out across the planet, humans welcoming invasion forces like visiting dignitaries rather than conquering armies. "Human," Mordek growled through his translator, his forearms spreading in an intimidation display. "We are here to conquer your world. You should be afraid." Dr. Han's smile grew even brighter. "Oh, we know exactly why you're here. We've been preparing for visitors like you for quite some time now. Would you like to see our preparations? We've learned so much from your predecessors." The casual mention of predecessors sent a chill through the alien warriors. Captain Mordek's compound eyes focused on the human scientist with new intensity. "Predecessors?" he demanded. "Oh yes," Dr. Han gestured toward the temporary buildings. "The Kranoks taught us about biological warfare. The Hydrans showed us organic technology. The machine legions were particularly helpful with artificial intelligence applications. Each visitor has contributed so much to our understanding." As she spoke, more humans approached with equipment that looked decidedly more sophisticated than it had from orbit. The primitive devices in their hands hummed with energy signatures that made the Velthak sensors chirp warnings. "We're so excited to learn about Velthak technology," Dr. Han continued, her voice carrying an undertone that made experienced warriors take a step back. "Your quantum processors, your dimensional weapons, your faster-than-light engines. We have so many questions." The Velthak invasion force found themselves separated into smaller groups of 20 to 30 soldiers each, a tactical decision their human hosts explained as necessary for proper cultural exchange and mutual understanding. What the aliens didn't realize was that this division made them far easier to manage and study. Captain Yoon Hee-jin stood before a group of towering Velthak warriors in the marble halls of Seoul's National War Memorial. Her crisp military uniform bore the insignia of Earth's Defense Force, though to alien eyes it looked like ceremonial dress rather than combat gear. She smiled warmly at the 8-foot-tall creatures whose 4 arms ended in razor-sharp claws. "Welcome to our most sacred memorial," she began, her voice carrying the enthusiasm of a proud tour guide. "Humans have such a fascinating military history. We've been perfecting the art of warfare for over 5,000 years. The Velthak soldiers exchanged glances, their compound eyes tracking the primitive displays around them. Bronze weapons, ancient armor, and stone carvings decorated the walls, exactly what they expected from a backward civilization. "These bronze swords are 3,000 years old," Hye-jin explained, gesturing toward a display case containing gleaming blades. "Simple technology, but remarkably effective. Our ancestors used these to kill each other quite efficiently. A single skilled warrior could cut down dozens of enemies in a single battle." She moved to the next display with the casual air of someone discussing the weather. "The interesting thing about bronze is how it holds an edge. These weapons could slice through leather armor, wooden shields, even early metal protection. Very reliable for close combat killing." The aliens shifted uncomfortably as they processed this information. Captain Zurkek, the squad leader, found himself disturbed by the humans' cheerful tone while discussing violence. "Here's our medieval section," Hye-jin continued, leading them to a massive diorama showing a castle siege. "This is where humans really got creative with warfare. See those catapults? They could hurl stones weighing 300 pounds over castle walls, but the really clever part was when we started using them to throw diseased corpses into besieged cities." The display showed intricate details of siege warfare, scaling ladders, battering rams, and defensive positions. But what caught the Velthak attention were the tactical innovations. Humans had developed dozens of ways to breach fortifications, poison water supplies, and starve out defenders. Boiling oil was particularly effective, Hee-jin noted, pointing to figures pouring liquid from castle walls. It would stick to armor and cook the warrior inside. We also used molten lead, heated sand, and burning pitch. Each method had specific advantages depending on the target. The aliens' translator devices struggled with some of the tactical terminology, but the images made the concepts clear. These humans had spent centuries developing increasingly sophisticated methods of killing their own species. "And this," Hye-jin's voice grew almost reverent as they entered the modern warfare section, "is where we truly perfected industrial-scale killing, 2 world wars where humans eliminated over 100 million of each other." The displays showed photographs of massive battles, mechanized warfare, and weapons that dwarfed anything in the medieval section. Tanks rolled across muddy fields, aircraft dropped explosive payloads on cities, and artillery pieces fired shells the size of tree trunks. The First Global War taught us about trench warfare, poison gas, and machine guns. But the Second War was where we really innovated. Strategic bombing of civilian populations, submarine warfare, and of course nuclear weapons. Captain Zurkek's mandibles clicked nervously. "Nuclear weapons?" "Oh yes," Hye-jin smiled brightly. "We split the atom and used it to vaporize entire cities. 200,000 people eliminated in seconds. Very efficient." Meanwhile, across the city, Major Song Jae-min was conducting his own educational tour at what appeared to be a standard military testing facility. His group of Velthak soldiers walked through training grounds where human soldiers practiced with conventional weapons. "This is where we test our current military equipment," Jae-min explained casually, as massive artillery pieces thundered in the distance. Nothing too advanced by galactic standards, just improved versions of projectile, weapons and chemical explosives. The demonstration area showcased tanks, armored vehicles and aircraft that looked primitive compared to Velthak technology, but the aliens couldn't help noticing the precision of the weapons testing, the disciplined coordination of human soldiers, and the impressive destructive capability of even these primitive devices. Those are our latest main battle tanks. Jamin pointed to vehicles maneuvering through obstacle courses. They can punch through 3 feet of solid steel at 2 miles. Distance. The depleted uranium rounds we use are particularly effective against armored targets. A squadron of fighter jets screamed overhead, their engines creating sonic booms that rattled windows. The pilots performed complex aerial maneuvers that would have been challenging even for experienced Velthak pilots. Our Air Force maintains global reach capability, Jamin continued. Any target on the planet can be engaged within hours. We've perfected precision bombing techniques that can eliminate specific rooms in buildings without damaging adjacent structures. The Velthak soldiers tried to maintain communication with their mothership, but their comm units were producing increasing amounts of static and interference. When they mentioned this concern to their human guides, they received sympathetic nods. "Oh, yes, atmospheric interference is quite common here," Heejin explained. "Our planet's magnetic field and ionosphere can disrupt certain frequencies. You might want to focus on the tour instead. We have so much more to show you." What the aliens didn't know was that sophisticated jamming equipment hidden throughout. Each facility was systematically blocking their communications. Every conversation, every scan, every attempt to contact their ships was being intercepted and analyzed by human intelligence systems. Deep beneath Seoul, Admiral Kang Da-hee monitored dozens of similar tours taking place around the globe. Her command bunker resembled something from a science fiction movie. Banks of monitors showed alien groups being guided through museums, military bases, research facilities, and historical sites. London reports their group is viewing World War II footage, her aide reported. The aliens seem particularly disturbed by strategic bombing documentation. New York's group is touring the Metropolitan Museum's arms and armor collection, another officer added. The guides are emphasizing historical kill ratios and battlefield effectiveness. Admiral Kang smiled as she watched her carefully orchestrated plan unfold. Each tour guide had been trained to maintain the same cheerful educational demeanor, while systematically demonstrating humanity's capacity for organized violence. The goal wasn't to threaten the aliens directly, but to plant seeds of doubt about humanity's supposed primitiveness. Moscow's group just finished viewing Stalingrad battle footage, came another report. The aliens are asking questions about human casualty tolerance and tactical persistence. The beauty of the plan was its simplicity. Let the aliens see exactly what humans were capable of, but frame it as historical education rather than current threat assessment. Show them 5,000 years of warfare evolution, demonstrate the progression from bronze swords to nuclear weapons, and let them draw their own conclusions about what humans might have developed in secret. Cairo reports, "Successful demonstration of ancient siege warfare tactics," another aide announced. "The aliens seem impressed by human engineering creativity in military applications." Admiral Kang nodded approvingly. The tours were working exactly as planned. Each group of aliens was being subtly isolated, systematically educated, and carefully monitored. By the time they realized what was happening, it would be far too late to change course. General Vexthor's realization came like a thunderbolt when his communication attempts with scattered ground forces failed completely. Standing in what he thought was a primitive research facility in Tokyo, he watched his four-armed reflection in polished metal surfaces that seemed far too advanced for Earth's supposed technological level. "General, please follow me." "Professor," Shin Wuram said with the same unsettling cheerfulness that all humans seem to possess. "I think it's time you saw what Earth really is." The professor led him toward what appeared to be a simple elevator, but as the doors closed, Vexthor felt the unmistakable sensation of rapid descent. They were dropping far deeper than any surface building should allow, passing through layers of rock and reinforced metal that spoke of massive underground construction. How deep does this go? Vexthor demanded, his compound eyes tracking the depth indicators that showed they were now several hundred meters below ground level. Oh, we've had decades to dig, Wuram replied casually. Amazing what you can accomplish. When you know visitors are coming. The elevator finally stopped, and the doors opened to reveal something that made Vexthor's blood freeze in his veins. The underground complex stretched as far as his enhanced vision could see. A vast network of laboratories, manufacturing facilities, and research centers that would have impressed even the Galactic Council's finest installations. Welcome to Earth's real face, Wuram said, gesturing grandly at the technological marvel surrounding them. Let me show you our collection. They walked through corridors lined with transparent walls, each one revealing laboratories filled with impossible sights. In the first chamber, Vexthor saw weapons that pulsed with organic life, living metal that reshaped itself, biomechanical hybrids that seemed to breathe and think. The Kranoks gave us excellent biotechnology, Wuram explained, his voice carrying the enthusiasm of a proud parent showing off a child's achievements. Their regenerative capabilities merged beautifully with our engineering principles. Watch this. He activated a control panel, and one of the bioweapons responded by extending tendrils that connected to nearby machinery. The weapon began to grow, literally expanding as it integrated with the surrounding technology. Fascinating species. The Kranoks, Wuram continued. They thought biological warfare was the ultimate evolution of combat. They were partially right. Biological adaptation combined with human innovation creates something remarkable. Vexthor stared in horror as they passed laboratory after laboratory. Each room contained more impossible sights, technology that should not exist on a primitive world, weapons that combined alien engineering with human ingenuity in ways that defied galactic understanding. In one massive chamber, Hydran bioships hung suspended in nutrient tanks like sleeping giants. These weren't wreckage or captured vessels, they were living ships that had been carefully maintained and studied. Their organic hulls pulsed with life, their biomechanical organs continued to function, but human technicians worked among them with casual familiarity. The Hydrans were particularly generous, Wuram noted, observing Vexthor's shock. Their ships aren't just vehicles, they're living creatures with intelligence and adaptability. We've learned so much about organic computing and biological engineering from them. Human scientists moved through the bioships like they were performing routine maintenance, connecting cables and monitoring systems that merged alien biology with human technology. The sight was deeply unsettling. These massive creatures that had once terrorized star systems were now docile, their power harnessed for human purposes. You didn't destroy them, Vexthor whispered, his voice barely audible. The fleets, the warriors, the ships, you didn't destroy them. Dr. Kim Subin looked up from a control console where she was monitoring dozens of alien systems. Her expression showed genuine puzzlement at his statement. Destroy? She repeated, as if the word made no sense. Why would we destroy such valuable learning opportunities? That would be wasteful and short-sighted. We integrated everything instead. Look at this. She activated a massive holographic display that filled the chamber's center. The three-dimensional image showed Earth's solar system, but not as the Veltak had seen it during their approach. This version revealed the planet's true defensive network, a web of technology that incorporated elements from every alien civilization that had ever attempted invasion. Satellites orbited Earth in complex patterns, their designs clearly showing Kranok's bioweapon integration. Energy signatures indicated weapons systems that could adapt and evolve during combat, just like their original creators, but enhanced with human engineering precision. Hydran living ships patrol our ocean depths, Zubin explained, manipulating the hologram to show underwater activities. They're no longer independent vessels. Human pilots control them through neural interfaces we developed by studying their biological systems. Imagine the strategic advantage of underwater vessels that can repair themselves and adapt to any threat. The display shifted to show the planet's surface, where hidden installations bristled with technology that clearly incorporated Machine Legion components. Robotic manufacturing facilities worked around the clock, producing hybrid weapons that combined artificial intelligence with human tactical doctrine. Machine Legion AI cores manage our global defense grid, Subin continued, her voice carrying professional pride. We reprogrammed their quantum processors with human strategic thinking. They maintain their computational power, but now serve human interests exclusively. Captain Im Suho entered the laboratory, his uniform bearing decorations that incorporated alien technology in ways that spoke of deep understanding and integration. His confident stride and the casual manner with which he interacted with alien systems demonstrated that this was routine for him. "General Vexthor," he said, nodding respectfully to the alien commander, "your fleet's weapons have been completely analyzed. Our sensors mapped every energy signature during your approach. Your shields have been bypassed through techniques we learned from the Machine Legions. Your faster-than-light engines are now understood thanks to quantum principles we extracted from Hydran bioships." Vexthor's forearms trembled with rage and disbelief. "Impossible," he snarled, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "We are a galactic power with technology spanning millennia. You are primitives who barely understand space travel." "Were," came a new voice from the laboratory's entrance. Colonel Nam Harin stepped into view, her uniform incorporating alien technologies in ways that would have been impossible without deep understanding of their principles. "You were a galactic power. Now you're raw materials for humanity's advancement." The colonel gestured toward another section of the complex where Velthac technology was already being dissected and analyzed. Human technicians worked with alien components, reverse engineering systems that had taken the Velthac centuries to develop. "We've been broadcasting false technological signatures for decades," Subin explained, her voice taking on a lecturing tone. "Every deep space scan, every reconnaissance probe, every intelligence-gathering mission, they all saw exactly what we wanted them to see. Primitive combustion engines, basic metallurgy, simple satellite networks." She manipulated the hologram again, showing how Earth's real infrastructure remained hidden beneath layers of electromagnetic deception and carefully constructed facades. "Every species that comes to conquer us just makes us stronger," Subin continued. "Each invasion brings new technology, new biological systems, new ways of thinking about warfare and survival. You've all been involuntary teachers in humanity's greatest educational program." Vexthor realized with growing horror that his entire fleet was trapped in a web they had never seen coming. The humans hadn't just prepared for invasion, they had perfected the art of turning invaders into resources, enemies into unwilling allies, and conquest attempts into technological advancement opportunities. The truth was more terrifying than any weapon. Earth wasn't a primitive world waiting to be conquered. It was a trap that had been baited with the appearance of weakness, and every alien civilization that had taken that bait had contributed to making the trap more sophisticated and deadly. General Vexthor stood frozen in the underground laboratory as alarms began shrieking throughout the complex. His compound eyes tracked the flashing red lights, while his translator picked up urgent human communications echoing through the corridors. "Sir, the mothership is attempting emergency departure," Captain Im Suho reported, his voice carrying the calm efficiency of someone who had expected this moment. "Admiral Kulthan is ordering all ground forces to immediate extraction points." Professor Shin Wuram smiled with the same unsettling cheerfulness he had maintained throughout the entire tour. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, General. Your Admiral is about to discover what Earth really looks like when we drop the pretense." High above them, Admiral Kulthan stood on the bridge of the Velthac Command dreadnought, his forearms frantically working control panels as he tried to coordinate the retreat of his scattered fleet. Warning lights bathed the bridge in crimson, as sensor arrays detected massive energy buildups across Earth's surface. "All ships emergency departure protocol," Kulthan commanded. "Something is very wrong with this world. We're leaving now." But as the Velthac engines began their startup sequences, Earth's true face finally revealed itself. The planet's surface erupted with weapons systems that had been hidden beneath carefully constructed facades. What looked like innocent hills and valleys suddenly bristled with artillery positions that defied galactic understanding. Crannoch's bioartillery emerged from underground silos, their living barrels pulsing with organic energy. These weren't the crude weapons the Crannochs had originally possessed. They were enhanced versions that incorporated human engineering principles. The living projectiles they fired adapted their flight patterns in real time, adjusting course to compensate for evasive maneuvers. Lieutenant Bai Zhongsu coordinated the orbital defense network from his position in the Seoul Command Center. Banks of monitors showed him the positions of every Veltak vessel, their energy signatures, their attempted escape vectors. His fingers danced across holographic controls that would have impressed even the most advanced civilizations. Hydron. Biocannons are locked onto targets, he reported. Enhanced targeting systems are tracking 37 vessels attempting departure. The Hydron energy weapons that emerged from Earth's oceans were magnificent and terrifying. These living cannons had been integrated with human computer systems, creating hybrid weapons that combined organic adaptability with digital precision. The energy beams they fired carved through Veltak hulls like surgical lasers, targeting specific systems rather than simply destroying entire ships. Commander Oh Min-seo watched from her fighter command center as squadrons of repurposed alien spacecraft launched from hidden facilities around the globe. These weren't human-built fighters. They were Crannochs, Hydron, and Machine Legion vessels that had been captured, studied, and reverse-engineered. Human pilots now controlled them through interfaces that combined alien technology with human tactical thinking. Squadron 7 is airborne, she announced. Pilots report full system integration. All alien technologies are responding to human control protocols. The dogfights that erupted in Earth's atmosphere were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human pilots, trained on alien technology for months, flew captured enemy fighters with skills that surpassed their original creators. They understood the weaknesses of Veltak vessels because they had studied every component, every system, every tactical doctrine. Admiral Kulthan watched in horror as his supposedly superior fleet was systematically dismantled by weapons that used his own people's technology against them. The planet below had transformed from a primitive backwater into a fortress that incorporated the best military innovations from across the galaxy. "Sir, we're losing ships faster than our computers." "Can track," his tactical officer reported. "The humans are using our own weapons against us, but they've improved them somehow." Machine Legion AI cores, reprogrammed with human strategic thinking, coordinated the global defense network within human precision. Every shot was calculated, every maneuver predicted, every escape route blocked. The artificial intelligences retained their computational power, but now served human interest with terrifying efficiency. Vexthor, still trapped in the underground facility, could only watch through the laboratory's monitors as his fleet was methodically destroyed. The humans around him worked with casual professionalism, adjusting weapon systems and coordinating attacks as if this were routine military exercise rather than galactic warfare. "Your admiral is quite skilled," Professor Wu Ram commented, observing the tactical displays. "He's managed to save about 15% of your fleet, better than most commanders achieve." The general's mandibles clicked in disbelief as he watched Veltak dreadnoughts, vessels that had conquered star systems, being carved apart by enhanced alien weapons controlled by humans who had supposedly never left their own planet. Admiral Kulthan's escape was nothing short of miraculous. His command ship, protected by concentrated shield arrays and surrounded by the surviving vessels of his fleet, managed to break free of Earth's gravity well. As his ship entered hyperspace, he carried with him the most terrifying intelligence report in galactic history. Behind him, General Vexthor's escape pod was one of the few ground-based units to reach orbit. As his small craft fled toward the hyperspace jump point, he watched Earth's transformation continue. The planet that had appeared primitive and defenseless now revealed massive shipyards hidden beneath its oceans and underground facilities that rivaled the greatest military installations in the galaxy. Earth's new fleet began emerging from concealment, like predators rising from ambush. These weren't human ships, they were hybrid vessels that combined technologies from every civilization that had attempted to conquer the blue world. Cranox bioships with human weapon systems, Hydron living vessels with Machine Legion AI cores, and completely new designs that incorporated the best features from multiple alien civilizations. In the Seoul Command Center, President Lim Chan-woo stood before the United Earth Council as reports flowed in from around the globe. His expression carried the satisfaction of a plan executed perfectly, but also the weight of humanity's new responsibilities. Phase 3 is complete, he announced to the assembled representatives. We now possess Velthak hyperdrive technology, quantum communication systems, and energy projection capabilities. Our enhanced fleet will begin diplomatic missions to neighboring star systems within the week. Ambassador Yang Eunji, her uniform now bearing alien technology badges that marked her as Earth's interstellar diplomatic representative, smiled at the irony of the situation. "Diplomatic missions?" she asked. "Of course," Chan-woo replied, his voice carrying the same cheerful tone that had characterized every human interaction with the aliens. "We'll offer them the same choice we gave the others: peaceful coexistence and mutually beneficial cultural exchange, or involuntary technological contribution to humanity's continuing education." Across the galaxy, the few Veltak survivors who reached their home systems carried a new warning that spread like wildfire through interstellar communication networks. Earth doesn't repel invasions, it collects them. The Blue World's inhabitants don't just survive attacks, they evolve from them. The message that preceded Earth's new hybrid fleet to every inhabited system in their local galactic region was simple, polite and absolutely terrifying in its implications. Greetings from the people of Earth. We come in peace and friendship, seeking cultural exchange and mutual understanding. We have learned much from our previous visitors and hope to continue this educational relationship. We trust you will make the wise choice regarding our diplomatic overtures. We look forward to meeting you soon. The galactic community now faced a terrifying new reality. Humanity had emerged as a major power, not through traditional conquest or superior technology, but through the universe's most dangerous trait, the ability to learn, adapt, and improve upon everything that tried to destroy them. Every failed invasion had made them stronger. Every alien weapon had become a human advantage. Every conquered civilization had contributed to humanity's rise from primitive backwater to galactic superpower. And now, with technologies from a dozen civilizations at their disposal, and the tactical lessons learned from every species that had underestimated them, humanity was ready to take their place among the stars, whether the rest of the galaxy wanted them there or not. The end.